Hello, everybody. This is Grim, and with me is Ender. We're doing a mic check audio test. Ender,
Como estas?
Can everyone hear us? If you're in chat and can hear both of us, please let us know.
The Perseus did get that Uno reverse card, and then I have a Perseus now, so I'm hoping we can Uno reverse again.
Ravel says he can hear both. All right. Whoa. We're going to mute up here, everyone, and we will be live in probably about 20 seconds, so stay tuned. All right, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear us. Ender, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm real good. How are you?
There was a microsecond pause there. You had me concerned. I'm good. Hopefully everyone in chat can hear us okay tonight. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining us. We're over on Twitch. We're over on YouTube. It's been a little while since you've seen these two faces together on a stream, and it's honestly hurt my soul a little bit that we haven't that we haven't been on together doing something like this in a while. But to be quite honest with you, and you've been having your real life stuff going on. I've been having my real life stuff going on, and it's just been hard. So, yeah. But here we are. We're back together finally. We for those of you that caught earlier streams, I did one at the beginning of IAE, or maybe a day before, and then a short one in the middle.
It was day one.
Was it day one? Okay. So, just to kind of keep people up to date and follow along with some of the new ship news, especially that was coming out. I promised that we would do an IAE wrap show. I said that we would wait till RSI day when Ender's with me, but I actually miscalculated the days. RSI day fell on a day Ender was working, which actually worked out good for me because I wasn't really prepared either. I was really pushing hard to get the Arastra into Fleet Viewer, so we delayed it to today, which I think is better.
Much better. Yeah. Good day for it. IE is officially ending. I mean, we got 3 days left?
Yeah, it's like the wind down days where they're just like everything's available. One last chance to give us all your money. You know,
if you've been thinking about making a move, today's the day to get it done, I guess, or the next few days. I got mine done yesterday.
Yeah,
it was a perfect day for me. RSI day, on RSI day, whatever day that was, RSI day and Anvil day were still running.
Right.
So I was able to get all the moves I need made, and I'm pretty happy with the moves I made. We'll go over that later, though.
Yeah. So give everyone a little bit of an idea of what's scoped for this episode. We're going to give our thoughts on a few things like the price changes, best in show paints. We're going to go through each ship that was announced and or going to flyable during IAE. Some of these we've covered, so we're not going to spend like an hour and a half on each one. We're just going to push right through some of them. Some of them we might have more discussion on than others. And then moving into, or right after that, I think we are going to talk about Ender's fleet and my fleet. We're going to show you where we were, where we are, and where we're going with our fleets. Okay. And we're going to use StarJump Fleet Viewer to do that. And then we'll wrap up the show. It's not going to be a super long one. This, you know, isn't going to be a 4-hour episode or anything, but it'll be a nice kind of, you know, reconnect for all of us, especially me and Ender. Again, we haven't hosted anything like this in quite a while, but also give us a chance to connect with you all a little bit. I want to give a big shout out to 2 people in chat, VMXEO and Starlet, who's in chat. Salute to you both.
Hey,
Hope
guys.
you're well. Fellow Star Jumpers. And then I also want to give a shout out to VG in chat, or Vasi, as I've been calling him, for doing some stuff for me today to help this show go a little smoother. He actually sent me, just on his own accord, some nice ship summary pages that I think are really nice, and we will use those as we kind of go through the individual ships. And I'll send those to you just so you have them, but I will be sharing them as well.
Hey, before we get
yes.
into it, I do have one kind of small announcement. Well, not so small.
Yeah.
Let me, you know what? I prepared and then I didn't prepare. So let me grab one thing. So real quick, while I talk. So it is November, and every year I do a Movember, whatchamacallit?
Charity drive.
Charity drive. Thank you, Jesus. I can think sometimes.
I'm always looking.
I do a Movember charity drive. I do have a charity drive going on, and I don't have a lot to give away right now for Movember. It's just a lot is in flux for me, and you know, the move and everything. But
you got some big stuff going on in life.
I do, but I do have something to give away. I have a Tobii eye tracker that you know is sitting somewhere. It's over that way. So I will be giving away a practically brand new Tobii eye tracker. As soon as I find my dismiss that campaign, here it is. Guardians Movember and campaign. All right, donate URL. Here's the deal. I will set donations.
Go ahead, Ender.
Yes, thank you. I will set donations for $10. For every $10 that you donate, you'll get 1 entry up to 10 entries. I'll get the stuff set up for that. All I need you to do is, if you decide to donate, put your Twitch. I'm sorry, I know YouTubers, you're going to have to use Twitch this time. Put your Twitch username into the who it is column. And I will get you all set up for entry to that. You can have as many as 10 entries. I'm doing the donation link. I'm sending that right now.
We'll be posting that link on our StarJump Twitter account and the Guardians Twitter. We'll do both, and we'll post that on our YouTube community blog page after the show. So it'll go out to all of our major socials. You should be able to find it.
For every $10 donated,
post those, by the way.
Absolutely, thank you. For every $10 donated, you will get 1 entry, up to 10 entries. It is for a good cause. Movember is a men's health or mental and physical health awareness month. You know, suicide prevention is kind of a big deal for me. I had some numbers and I've left them in my backpack, and I apologize for that. But it essentially breaks down to, unfortunately, from what I've seen, 1 every minute, 1 every 60 seconds, suicides in men. Veterans are, yes. Thank you.
Yep.
And it's also for cancer awareness. I am a bladder cancer survivor. I've been lucky and not had to deal with testicular cancer, which is the focus of Movember.
Mhm.
But it's kind of near and dear to my heart. So please, guys, feel free to donate. If you donate, thank you so much. Put your Twitch username in. We'll get you set up, and I'll have everything set and ready for you guys. And I'll reach out to everybody to get that set up. If you don't donate, thank you, Ravel. I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you, guys. That's all I got. I'll talk about it one more time before we're done, just to get everybody again. But yeah, Movember. No head shave this year.
All right.
Vic, if you want to, absolutely. Victoria is offering some paintings. I'll get you my new address, Victoria.
Very cool.
Commander, 22 years. Thank you for your service. I was in for 6. My wife was in for 4.
Cool deal. Yes, obviously very important, everyone. And for those of you that don't know, StarJump in general hasn't been streaming as much. Ender specifically has not been streaming near as much. There's some priority stuff going on for him that is more important. But doesn't mean there's nothing StarJump happening. There is. It's just kind of being germinated behind the scenes. But we got a lot to cover, so we're going to jump into stuff. I'm going to switch us over to another screen here. I did want to bring up real quick, and I'm going to set it up now. I did say to everyone that we would be giving away 2 more posters of the IAE special edition posters that I'm showing here. Hopefully you can see those. Let me explain to you how to get in on that. Okay, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is, if you're on YouTube, I pinned a video at the top of the YouTube chat. Just click on that video and leave a comment in it. It can say hi, it can say nice video, it can say contest enter, whatever. Just leave a comment, and then I will pull a random comment with the random comment picker, and that will be the person who wins for that. If you're on Twitch, all you have to do is do !ticket or !ticket space max, and that's all you got to do. It could not be more simple. So get in on that. I'd also want to thank Black Dream Hunk and Sphericon for your follows. Really appreciate it. Greenwater Griff, did he just hit a subscription?
He did.
What do we say here? Did I miss just subscribe for 15 months in a row? That's amazing. Griff, hope you're well, dude. All right, so we went over to contest again. This is the last night I will do the giveaway for this poster. I did 2 on the first day, 2 in the middle, and I'm doing 2 tonight. I don't sell these posters. They come out of my own pocket. I'm not allowed to sell them. Agreement with CIG and all that good stuff. So this is not anything you can, get me to sell you or anything. These I do just as a giveaway for these events. Again, it comes out of my pocket. They're not exactly cheap, but
they're not.
That's that's the way it is. So really cool poster, all IAE themed.
Really good looking.
The only thing I might change on it before I process them all for everyone that's won is I think I'm going to add the Arastra in there, just because it's on the larger side. You'll be able to actually see it amongst these ships. If I, the Sulin and stuff, they're going to be too small. So probably get the Arastra in before I send it out.
You guys will notice that I did enter to win this, but I am not. Oh, Noah, you have to go to Twitch to enter that. I am not actually entering. If I win, I will pick somebody to do to give it away to. Yeah,
cool deal. All right, are we ready to kind of launch into stuff? We got a lot of stuff to cover.
So a lot to cover, yeah.
Get into it. Again, I'll bring up the IAE posters again later, but you see the instructions here. If anyone asks on how to get on that and you're in chat, feel free to type it out for them and let them know. Be a helpful community member. All right, let's go into our first bit of news. This was kind of pre-IAE. This news came out on November 10th. Jake Acapella came in and talked about some ships that were going up in price. Now, me personally, I'm starting to keep more of an eye out for these price increases, because what I think we're starting to see is a slow realignment of ship value as more and more ships have started to
Yeah.
come out. And we've seen some big price hikes, price hikes, especially with the Hull C. Didn't the Hull C jump? I know chat can correct me. Didn't it jump like $100 or something?
I think that's about right.
I believe
I
so.
think a little over, maybe.
Yeah. So, and I think the Hull C now is 500, if I'm not mistaken. And that goes into something here I'm going to talk about in a minute. But let's go through these price increases. The Anvil
Hmm.
F7CM Super Hornet was went up to 185, so a $5 jump there. The Connie Taurus went to 200, which was a $10 jump. Connie Aquila went up to 315, a $5 jump. Some kind of minor adjustments there, which I think is
Yeah.
interesting that you're seeing CIG do minor little incremental adjustments. And again, the reason that's happening is because other ships are slotting below that because they can't really bring a ship down in price, right? Um,
Right.
then getting into obviously the Redeemer went to 330, a $5 jump, and then we get to some serious ones that really could affect things. We had the Misk Hull D go to $550, so it jumped $100. Part of that was because of the Hull C's price jump, and also I can assure you that when the Hull D does go flight ready, it's going to jump substantially. I
Yeah.
could see that being a $750 ship all day long.
Yeah.
Thank you for the follow, FN 1980. Appreciate it. That was the year I was born. Salute 1980. All right. And then last but not least, the RSI Orion going up to $650, which is a $75 jump, starting to creep into that true capital ship territory. Hull D as well. I don't know if the Hull D is considered capital, but I kind of consider it capital just based off its size. And honestly, I think it'll get some component upgrades that take it into the capital marketplace. So essentially, both those ships are moving closer and closer down to that capital pricing, which is generally 650, 700 and over. So, um, Ender, thoughts on any of these price increases? I know that we may reference some of these when we get into our individual fleet adjustments later on the show, but anything that sticks out to you?
Honestly, that makes sense to me. I know some people get upset about price changes, but they make sense to me. The F7, I feel like maybe the F7 may be in preparation for something coming down the pipeline.
Hmm.
Um, that I don't know how many people know about it, but there's been some leaked discussion about
Yeah.
some potential stuff in during Luminalia.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's in preparation for that. The rest makes sense to me. Price adjustments are going to happen, and I think they're very important. And that whole D was going to go up anyway, right?
It was, yeah.
That was coming down the pipeline, and I think we knew that was going to happen. So, in fact, I expect to see more coming down the pipeline for the whole D specifically. I don't think it's settling at its final price. So.
No, not at all. It's not going to be. By the way, Vet Life, thank you for the follow. I mean, when you have the Hull C that carries 4,600 SCU of cargo sitting at 500, and the Hull D holds 20,000 SCU, it's not going to be just $50 more. That thing's going to go up to at least 750. I think.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree.
I mean, I think too, the Orion is a capital ship as well. As a matter of fact, the Orion's bigger than the Kraken. So the Orion, I think, is going to go much higher than 650 as well. I see the Orion it could end up being flight ready, at $850, $900, $1,000 by the time it's all said and done. I'm actually still a little surprised that the Orion is not hull limited personally, but I think CIG thinks it's maybe such a niche ship that its sale numbers don't justify that for it to be hull limited. And as it gets higher in price, I think CIG is going to be even more like people aren't going to buy this. So anyway, again, just interesting adjustments. I can see chats got some opinions there that that they posted. I think, Ender, you hit it on the head though when you said that these price adjustments are actually a little bit of a good thing, because to me the price adjustments have to happen. It may hurt sometimes if that was a ship you were planning on buying in 6 months, but where it actually helps is it helps other ships retain their value. One of the biggest examples of
Exactly.
this is the Kraken versus or the Kraken Privateer versus BMM thing. The
Yeah.
BMM is what is it? Is it 650 now or 550? I forget. It's one of those, but that's come up from all the way from $250 on its initial concept price, if I'm not mistaken. And it's still probably okay. Poutine says 650. The BMM still probably got to go up a little bit more. The ship is competing against the privateer, and I will say the privateer does have more functionality. Let's be very clear about that. But there's a massive price gulf between the two. I mean, 650 compared to $2,000. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
again, the privateer, you can rearm, repair, refuel on the pads. The BMM can't do that. The privateer has, I think, shielded cargo or shielded store area. There's some other stuff there, but still, it's a massive price increase, or a massive
Absolutely.
price gulf between the two. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they'll close that a little bit. I see the BMM probably hitting a flight ready price of, in my opinion, 800, 850, something like that. I
That
mean,
sounds right. That sounds right.
and I think that's still probably going to be a decent deal. Um,
I mean, for what
so
you're getting out of it, yeah, I think
yeah.
so.
By the
I
way,
agree.
VetLife, thank you for that follow. Let's move on to the next thing here. I'm going to shrink us back down. And again, everyone, we're going to kind of move along. We do have a lot of stuff to kind of get through here. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the best in show skins. Ender, I know you've been kind of working a lot through IAE.
A lot of
Nothing
this
wrong with
IAE
that.
was work for me.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what? To be totally fair, sitcom was where it was all at this year. I've heard a lot of people
I
say
think
that this.
Sitcon was the one that was important to not miss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually heard a lot of people say that this year's IAE was a little meh, and I actually
Yeah.
think it's more in line with most of the IAEs. I just think it was hard coming off that Citizen Con. That Citizen
I
Con,
think people had
whew,
high expectations coming off of Sitcon
it was the Woodstock
and
of
said, you know what?
events.
It's,
Yeah,
yeah. They're like, Sitcon was that big. How are they going to beat it? But I didn't think they needed to beat it. I think that
yeah.
coming
The-
off of Sitcon, honestly, a nice and relaxed con, as it were,
yeah.
was the best way to do it. And this IE has been, it hit my expectations. I wouldn't call it mess so much as just they hit the expectation I had, which was just kind of a nice, relaxed, not a lot of news, not a lot of information, a couple of new things, but nothing major.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
they hit that really well.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the two, I see them very differently too. I look at Citizen Con as a celebration of the game, and IE is more of a glorified. It's a ship sale. It's a ship
Agreed.
promotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do their best to dress it up in a fun way, and I think they actually
Yep.
do a really good job dressing IE up. But let's be very clear: it's a ship sale promotion. No one should be going into IE thinking it's an event. They camouflage it well because in the past they've had the Jax videos and all that stuff. But it's a ship promotion. Citizen Con is the celebration, so it's really hard coming off that, I think. All right. So, what did you think of these skins, though? They're obviously the purple, but they've got the lines kind of running through them in a very subtle way.
I think they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
They're
I
very
agree.
iridescent, which is a new thing for us. We haven't seen this iridescence.
Yeah,
We've seen really shiny paints, but I
yeah,
wouldn't call them iridescent. This is new.
yeah.
And then the subtle lines
Yeah,
are really gorgeous. I think they did a great job.
that's a really great point. I think they have tried to do iridescent before, but not to this quality level.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
iridescent has looked a little cheapy. The red one that they did last year, that was almost like a satin iridescent red or whatever. I think it was last year. That one actually to me does not look good on ships. It makes your ship look a little cheap. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think they really nailed it with this. And everyone knows my opinion with ship skins. I'm really kind of like on CIG selling paints that are just colors.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to do that. That's a promised feature. So CIG as the developer should be doing sellable ship skins that are stuff we will not be able to do. So stuff like this that's
Yeah.
got the lines running through it. Um, you know, or like ship skins with decals on them. For example, they should next year, if it's at Microtech, they should have a set of Microtech skins for the ships, with the Microtech branding on it and stuff like that. I think CIG needs to sell skins that we cannot make. And I'm a little bit of a stickler for that. And something personally, I wish CIG would refrain from doing moving forward. Now, maybe that's a new approach they're going to do. I noticed there wasn't really any ship skins sold this
Yeah,
IAE, and the skins that have been sold for ships that have just come out. If you've noticed, they all look pretty unique. Like they got some like really interesting stuff going on. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I'm thinking that we'll be able to build these very basic ones.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see anything where we can like add stickers or anything like that. I think it's going to be each ship will have, these four, for example, locations that you can change the color of.
yeah,
And maybe it's the main body and then some striping and then something else. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's what we'll be able to do. And then we'll get these very unique, very different paints from CIG. And those are going to be the ones that anybody can buy. And maybe they're not as original, for lack of a better term, as what we can build.
yeah.
But they are very different than what we can. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I mean, I can tell you as someone who's looked at the models very closely. I know VMXEO's in chat. He's looked at the models as close as I have, and generally, ships have three colors kind of associated with them. Not all of them. Some of them have more. Some have
Yeah.
even less. But generally, it's a primary, secondary, and tertiary color. I actually feel like the secondary and tertiary, or all three of them could be changed. The tertiary sometimes is things like blacks and stuff. I don't see some of that
Yeah.
changing, but definitely primary, secondary. We'll see how far they
Yeah.
go with it. But I can tell you
Even if it's
this.
only two. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you this. When they eventually do the custom paint stuff, it's going to be a big, big deal. I just really hope that when they do it, they go full scale with it and
Yeah.
don't do what they did with the ship naming, where they came out with a few of them and then you just never heard about it again. Just gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be rough.
We were all so excited for the custom ship naming thing, and then
And
it
then it
came out
just
and it's this tiny little
done.
thing on your ship. It's almost the size of a serial number, and then they just dropped it. It felt a little bit like a complete fumble, 1 yard from the end zone sort of thing. I really hope that the
Yeah.
hex code paint stuff is not that situation. So
Me too.
um
Me too.
but they're going to have to sort of figure out what the plan is. So, for example, let's take a dragonfly, because I was just talking to Starlet about this today. I sent her a message regarding one of the dragonflies.
Mhm.
There was that the yellow jacket version, which is just a yellow version of the dragonfly that
Right.
was offered when the ship went up for original concept. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean when we can custom paint ships, you won't be able to paint it yellow because that's a special paint skin? Or is CIG going to go back and do maybe yellow and black stripes for the yellow jacket skin to make it make more
Yeah.
sense? You know what I'm saying? So there's an issue there. Personally, I think CIG should go back and change some of those just color variant skins to be a little bit more interesting and allow people with hex codes to do any color they want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I agree.
Maybe
Yep.
you wall out certain things though, like gold and silver. Like maybe you wall those behind some sort of in-game reputation grind or something with like the chairman's club or something, running
Yeah.
VIP missions or whatever. I don't know. But um
Or even the ability to paint specific areas. You know what I mean? Like, okay, when I start and I have no rep, I'm able to paint the entire ship one color.
yeah. Yeah.
But as I gain rep, maybe another section of the ship I can make a different color, and then I've got two colors to work with, maybe three.
Right.
They can do a lot with that.
They can.
And
They
I
can.
think that's yeah.
And we may not have even seen really what the full scope of the paint system is going to be. They could really tie it
Right.
into a lot of things. A lot of people think it's forgotten. You never know. They could bring it on board with another system they have. You know, they're prepping. For example, I saw that
100%.
Xylo posted that They're working on a way to retrieve items that you've bought in the pledge store, like armors and stuff like that. They're going to tie the way to get those back in game if you lose them. They're tying in with the freight elevators, which I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Make something in the
Yeah.
freight elevator that you can pull those pledge items. I could see them
Absolutely.
maybe doing something with this. Maybe they tie it
Yeah.
into the persistent hangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Starlet says this: the ability to color such a tiny subset to the settings of a material. You're exactly right, Starlet. There are specular
Mhm.
reflections and all that stuff. We just don't know what they've built into the system yet. I feel like it's probably just going to be RGB value, hex code color stuff, but we'll
Yeah.
see. After seeing the character creator and how crazy that thing looks and how amazing it looks, who knows? Maybe they'll go the full Monty with the ships. All right, let's move on to the next thing. We do have, again, more to talk about. I'm going to close some windows here. Let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about the Gatak Sulin. Here's the sale page right here. Yeah, Ender, I actually, because I did a stream based off this, I would love to sort of hear your thoughts on it. I'm going to bring up an image here, everyone, just for ease of reading. The Gatak Sulin. It's a starter ship. It's a kind of an alien starter plus ship. Obviously, we got these stats up there. Ender, what was your opinion on the Sulin? I actually didn't get to hear much from you because you were working during this time period.
I did get to fly the Solon. This is an interesting ship to me. I like the look of this ship.
Mhm.
It's interesting the way that it lands. You know, it's the whole deal is interesting.
Yeah.
I hate taking off in this ship and landing in this ship.
Yeah.
I don't like the way that changing the orientation that you're in, which is, you know, this thing lands up and down. To take off, it's not a simple matter of, okay, on my sticks, I just pull up.
Yeah.
I actually have to move forward.
Were you flying this with your sticks?
I was not.
Oh, your keyboard.
Which made it more difficult for me.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I was keyboard and mouse. But it's interesting. I'm not sure I like it.
Yeah.
I can't say I hate it. But I'm not sure if I like the way this thing takes off. But let's take that out of the equation for now. Flying this thing was fun. It's got 3 size 3 weapons.
Yeah. And missiles.
It's got 12 size 2 missiles. And it's for a starter ship. This is an interesting little ship. It's interesting looking. It's absolutely a RP friendly ship, which I take into account more and more as this game gets more and more quote unquote done.
Yeah.
I take into account, can I RP with this? Is there RP for this? And for this ship,
like Starlet says, you have to think like an alien. Which is kind of cool. You kind of would.
That's what I like about it.
If your character has lived amongst them, this would be the perfect fit. By the way, Dr. Reanimator, thank you for that follow. Salute to you. But yeah, no, Starlet's exactly right. You got to think like an alien 100%. To fly this thing. My opinion on this ship, 2 things. The whole starter plus or, you know, premium starter ship it's a weird category that CIG has fit some of those in. And you can put a few of them in there. The Sulin, I think the Nomad is another like starter plus.
Yeah.
There's some others. But it's a weird position because they're not really starters. They're the place you go after your starter ship, right?
True.
It's just Zarek Masters. Thank you so much for the subscription, buddy. Appreciate it. Salute to you. It's interesting. I don't totally understand the tagging it with starter or starter plus, because this ship in a new person's hands, like think of it, brand new to Star Citizen, they jump in the Sulin, they're gonna have some issues. That could turn a new player off. It's hard enough to figure out how to fly a normal ship in the game, let alone this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, this one, because here's the other thing. People will get into their new ship when they either upgrade or they buy a new ship. And and they're going to start by just trying to, all right, I'm moving forward and not thinking, oh, I got to take off. Space takes me off in this one. But again, aside from that, I love this ship. It's a very interesting ship. It looks interesting. It feels interesting. And there's so much on the inside that gives it a little bit of life. I enjoy it. I really like the ship. The only thing I disliked was, the way it takes off, but I can get over that and get used to it.
Now, I will say this. I saw Victoria, hey, Victor, I hope you're well, bud, say auto land option. What I will say is when we do get, CIG has said that they are working on landing UI that will tie in with our new ship UI stuff. I don't know when that's coming online, but to me, the landing UI is as critical to me as like the damn star map. And the reason is because CIG, you get lost in the real, or Star Citizen, you sort of get lost in the realism until you see another ship or yourself come into land in an awkward place, right? Like landing the Carrack in a large hangar. It sort of then becomes, oh, I'm playing a video game. You know what I mean? Because it's awkward. It's very button mashy. You've got to constantly switch in angles. Nothing feels immersive about it. Nothing feels smooth or integrated. It just feels like a bumbling mess. And like it almost feels like you're rummaging through an Elder Scrolls Oblivion inventory that's got 9,000 items in it. It just feels like a cluster. So I think landing radar, landing assist radar in general is a critical feature that could make this ship a lot more interesting to me. Now, if you like the Gatok styling, but the Sulin landing thing's not your jam, the good thing is that the Raylan doesn't land vertically. Well, it's probably on at least the production board, which is good. Maybe so soon in CIG quotations, but the Raylan does transform to land, but you stay facing
but it doesn't land
forward.
Upright.
All right.
Yeah, and I like the look of it. So
let's move on to the next one. We're going to go to the Tumbril Storm.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was actually the Storm and the Storm AA. Let's stop by the Storm a little bit. We've talked about the Storm before. I don't think we have to go too much into it. So I'm actually going to take us back over to just the Storm AA frame here, and we can kind of talk about both. But have you had a chance to mess with the Storm at all in the game?
I haven't. The most I've dealt with the Storm is there was a really good breakdown. Somebody had done a lot of testing when it first came out. Now, I don't know if it's still accurate because a few people have said that it takes down stuff, but a breakdown from one of the members of our community. Forgive me for not remembering who. I could look it up, but it'll take a minute. But it was a really good breakdown, and the AA didn't, stand up to time on that. As far as the Storm goes, from what I understand from you, Grim, is it doesn't feel as heavy as it should, and I've heard that a lot. I've seen it rolled over on its side and just generally not quite where I want it to be. But it's an interesting concept to me. It's probably not something I would personally have and use. I didn't like the Cyclone, or not the Cyclone, the Nova tank. So I just don't see me personally heading for this one and getting it, but it's a very interesting thing, and I can see the use of it in the future.
Well, so there was gosh, I forget what her name is. She used to be a big elite player, and now she's a big Star Citizen content creator. I forget her name. Sorry, Commander something. She did a really great breakdown of the Storm. For those of you who know, I did have a Storm on concept from last year or whatever. It was a standard base model. Had it. I really liked the concept. There was a few reasons why. Then CitizenCon came, and I had some thoughts that were making me Citizen Kate. Thank you, Kusanagi. Then CitizenCon came that gave me some reservations about the Storm, but I still dug it and I still liked it. However, I was having concerns about the cannon. And then when I saw it finally in game and I got to drive it around, I found that the cannon was very weak, and just very not weak from an effective fire standpoint, but from just a feeling of shooting it. It felt like you're firing a cap gun, which I didn't like. If I'm driving
Really?
around this thing, I want it to feel like mean when I fire the gun, right? It definitely
Right.
does not have the same visceral um, reaction that firing the Nova does. So I upgraded to the Storm AA. I think it was a $10 boost. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead
Yeah.
and say this. You'll see this when we get to my plea. I said I was not putting any more money into Star Citizen. Mistakes were made. Um,
Uh-oh. Can't wait to see this.
yeah.
Even
So
I haven't heard about this.
no, this is all new. So I do have the Storm.
Yeah.
Then I tried the Storm out in game more, and I realized, and Kavotha says it, I don't like driving it. But here's the issue. It's not that I don't like driving the Storm. I don't like driving Star Citizen ground vehicles at all, because
Yeah.
I took out my Ursa, and then I took out a Steve, and I just
Yep.
don't like any of them. And here's why. And it's very simple. I've said this countless times. I put an Ask the Devs post on Spectrum, which, by the way, the Star Citizen devs never answer my questions. I swear, sometimes the stupidest questions get answered, but the really good questions don't get answered. I don't know what it is. Either
Gotta stop
way,
asking good questions there,
I
Chris.
know they need to put upward pointing maneuvering thrusters on these ground vehicles to push them down to get traction. This is
Yeah.
a basic tenet of any sort of ground vehicle, okay? And it works in two ways. For very light vehicles, meaning racing vehicles, so F1 cars, they have spoilers. Those spoilers move air to push down on the vehicle,
Right.
giving them traction. In something like a tank, the mass of the tank, the weight of the tank on Earth's gravity gives it plenty of traction to get itself out of, any kind of situation. With Star Citizen, we're dealing with a unique thing where we're on low gravity moons, planets and moons with no atmosphere, all that stuff. Spoilers won't work because of the no atmosphere and low gravity, and mass doesn't always work because of the low gravity. We need something else to counter that situation. And the
Yeah.
and if physics are systemic, as CAG has said multiple times, meaning that these ground vehicles are dictated by the same physics that ships and people and everything else are, then
Yeah.
the only way they will fix this problem is to give the ground vehicles traction. And the only way to give traction in a systemic environment like this is thrust or force pushing you down, right? So 100% they've got and I asked this question in the Ask the Dev section. I would love for them to answer that. I mean, it would be a pretty massive rework. That's the bigger concern there, would be adding maneuvering thrusters to all the ground vehicles. But I got to based off what I'm hearing. And here's the thing: it doesn't mean they're not fun to drive. You take a Cyclone off a ramp and go 150 yards, awesome. But
Yeah.
to make a ground vehicle really useful, to where it's not flipping all over the place like a damn cartoon every time, they're gonna have to do something.
When you're driving a ground vehicle right now,
Yeah.
it literally is a kind of a question of when, not if, you're going to flip your vehicle,
Oh yeah.
and every little thing bounces you around. It
Oh
just
my
feels like
gosh.
there's no weight to anything, and it's
Yeah.
it's a little sad.
And here's the thing: when you're driving the Storm, it should feel heavy. They gave it this big, wide bulldog stance, but it doesn't. It feels actually like you're driving an STV around. I mean, and not
Yeah.
in terms of speed, but in terms of like floatiness. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was driving it on where was I was driving on Microtech, and it was all over the place. They also, it's not just their float; they have too much slide that you can actually literally do yaw adjustments, and the vehicle will just yaw back and forth, but keep moving
Not good.
forward. It has way too much slip
It's
on it.
not good. Yeah.
And again, the only way they're going to fix that is by downward thrust. And because of that, I actually melted my Storms, so I do not have one anymore. And we'll talk more about that.
I'm surprised, but
Yeah.
a little surprised. I've heard you mention before in multiple conversations that we've had that you definitely don't like the way it feels, that it doesn't feel the way it should. So I'm not too surprised that you've melted it.
Yeah.
But a little bit.
Mountain Douche. Hope you're well, bud. Thanks
What?
for that follow. Mountain Douche. I'm going to give points for that name. That's a good name.
Yeah, you get points on that.
But to be totally honest with you,
there it is, Mountain Douche.
To be totally honest with you, though, Quinn, I was driving on Microtech. I mean, they're terrible. I've driven a lot of games with driving in it, and they're just terrible. The ground vehicles drive terrible, and it's a shame because you see CIG on the progress tracker working on driving mechanics and stuff, and here's the issue: they're never going to solve the feel of driving if they can't give us traction. It doesn't matter if the vehicles have more movability and stuff if they're flipping through the trees. So I actually melted all my ground vehicles. The only one I still have is my Ursa that came with the Carrack. I think the Dragonfly, Hover Quad, Nox are a little bit immune from this problem because they are hover vehicles, so they operate under a different thing.
Meant to do that.
Yeah, they're meant to do that, so it feels right. It feels intuitive, but vehicles with wheels and treads, to me, it's still not working. The Cyclones, the wheeled vehicles are a little better because they're lighter weight and it feels a little better, but the Nova and especially the Storm, they're a mess. They need to be dealt with.
There's a form of conversation going on here, and I actually want to address it real quick. So 2010 said, how about extra ballast weights? And BG says, well, vehicle down thrust makes more sense since the ballast on low grav moon. And he's right. So imagine 20 having ballast weights, right, that are perfect for microtech. But then I go to a low grav moon. Are we adding extra ballast weight? Do I need to adjust that? Or does it make more sense to put a thruster on there? It could take more time for the thruster.
Let me spark everyone's imagination. And this is why I think it should be thrusters. Imagine if with your mouse wheel scroll, you adjust the strength of the downward thrust.
Yeah.
So imagine if you are driving your Cyclone, you want traction, so you have thrusters on full, so it's keeping those wheels on the ground. But then you see a big ramp come up, slide that mouse wheel back off those thrusters, and you go sailing because you've turned off your thrusters or backed them way off.
I think
imagine having that level of control. How much more fun would the Atmo esports events and stuff be if you give people that level of control over their vehicle? There may be people that take more flying 150 yards on a jump type approaches, and there may be some people, I guarantee you, that say, you know what, I'm keeping wheels on the ground. I want traction at all times. I don't want to fly. You know, and so again, I just think it's a smart idea. I would love to see CIG address it. I see that they're working on ground vehicle physics, but until they solve that problem, I don't think they're going to solve the ground vehicle problem. And it's not just me. I see a lot of people complain about the way the Storm drives. A lot of people, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next ship, the Argo SRV. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause there. We're not going to go to the Argo SRV just yet. I'm going to go back to this real quick. We didn't forget this, but I forgot to request this from VG. So sorry, Vasi, I meant to get this one from you. Let's talk about the Spirit C1. It came out. It came out.
It did come out.
That's kind of a big deal. It kind of, I think, got a little over.
It's a big deal for me.
Yeah, it was a little overshadowed just because it was the A1 had come out previously, and then this one just sort of went to flyable. We all knew it was coming to flyable. I know this is a big one for you, and it was a big one for me too. I mean, I have it. But tell us why this is a big deal for you. It actually says "Dream Big" right there on the screen.
This is a nice everyday flyer for me.
Yeah.
Crusader doesn't have a starter ship. So this is as close as it gets for me, right? But honestly, I don't think I would get a Crusader starter ship. I don't think I would want one. I think that the C1 and E1 are kind of the perfect two, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, I had an A1. I still technically do, but I didn't like the bombing mechanic. So the A1 wasn't really one that I would fly very often. The C1, on the other hand, I love it. I think it's a perfect little ship for an everyday flyer for one or two people. It's got the the anti-grav gun. Why can I not think right now, Graham?
The tractor beam.
Tractor beam. Thank you.
Anti-gravity gun. I like that. That's what we should just call it, just to annoy some of those Star Citizen personalities
Purists.
out there. They're like, it's a tractor beam, STARJUMP. We're
It's
gonna go,
a
no, it's an
tractor beam.
anti-gravity gun.
Anti-grav. It does anti-gravity. I mean, that's the job. Now, ooh, my voice. It's got the tractor beam attached to it already, which is really useful for loading. So it's great for a 2-man team running cargo. Not a ton of cargo space, but it's not necessary for it, and you can do more than just run cargo with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Throw some go to a bunker, kill some people, bring their bodies up. You can pull them into the ship, or just pull their stuff as your buddy's pulling it off of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options there.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Red Samurai says, F that, just buy an A2. Not really interested in the bombing. And honestly, you could, if you like the C1, the A1, and you want something bigger than it, I personally would say get the A2, the C2. This is coming from somebody who's not a huge fan of the Hercules line. I like the interiors, but the exterior is just meh to me. But some stuff that you've mentioned has kind of brought me around. But the C1 having it, this actual picture that you've got there, effortless cargo handling.
Yeah.
This excites me for Xeno threat.
I know. That needs to be a great Xeno threat ship.
This would be kind of that perfect ship to have.
Yeah.
Where you're tossing stuff back and forth and you get your hands on. This is that perfect ship for that, I think. So it's going to be fun when it comes around, and this is going to be my everyday driver. I pull it out pretty much immediately. I think it's the only ship I've currently got. So yeah, really excited.
Yep. Eskimonian just subscribed for 4 months in a row. Thank you so much, Eskimonian. Thank you very much.
BG says C1 tractor beam is going to need work to be effortless. Why?
Well, so apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the tractor beam that people are complaining about? Because it doesn't actually allow you to get the cargo into the actual cargo room. It only pulls it up to the back of the ship. I thought that was the Cutlass that had that issue, though.
This does.
Because it wraps down, right?
Wraps down. It would help get it in.
Well, let me say this too, though, on just tractor beams in general, ship-based tractor beams. Remember, everyone, they just came in, so I actually see a lot. We're going to see a lot of iteration on vehicle tractor beams.
Some very big changes for that.
As a matter of fact, CIG did say that they are doing a pass on all tractor beams for every ship, especially their location. Okay, so VG says does not pivot well. Okay, so I expect them to fix that, VG, because CIG did come out and say that they are adjusting all the ships, tractor beam locations and tractor beam functionality. Because again, they're seeing it in working order now, and they're going to see what works and what doesn't work. Thank you, Cindy, for that 2 months in a row subscription.
Oh, nice. I see some people are saying Zeus greater than C1. I can see that. It has more storage space. So if cargo is your thing, absolutely. The Zeus is greater than the C1. For me, I don't know. I just like the look of the C1 better. The Zeus is a good ship. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it's all about that aesthetic. And while I've got a Zeus for the bounty hunter, I'm not interested in cargo. So the C1 is perfect for me. It's just the right amount to make a little bit of cash, or I can store some stuff and kind of keep on moving. So to me, the C1 is the perfect ship.
And let me give a little bit of what my opinion is on daily drivers, because I've heard this whole debate about the CL specifically versus the Spirit, or the C1 has popped up a lot. You know, the Clipper versus the C1. I've seen this in a lot of communities, people debating it. Totally fine. However, here's my opinion on the whole daily driver thing. I actually think it's good to have 2 daily drivers in the future, and here's why I think that. Because you're probably going to have more than one home port, so to speak, right? And 100%. What I mean by that is I think the average player will have a major landing zone somewhere that they call home, and then they'll also have an outpost somewhere that they've built that they call home. I would actually, if I was someone, I would always make sure I have a daily driver at both of those locations, right? That way, let's say I go off in a ship that's highly specialized, like the Nautilus, and let's say I'm out doing with the Nautilus. No matter if I go back to my outpost or a space station nearby, or I go to my major landing zone, or wherever I go from that Nautilus, or even another more specialized ship, the Vulture, it'd be great to be able to go to one of my two main places, and I have a daily driver there to use. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Because remember, in the future, you're not just going to be able to hit detonate on your ship and recall it on the ASOP
Nope.
terminal. Well, I mean, you can, but it'd be pretty dumb.
I
This
wouldn't. I
it's going to,
wouldn't want to do it.
it's going to get more and more expensive. And this is one of those things I constantly say, like, when you're thinking about the game as it is today, it doesn't really make sense to have two daily drivers. But if you think about the game in the future, it actually does make a little bit of sense to have two daily drivers, right? Or if one just gets damaged, maybe you're low on funds. Maybe you don't have the wherewithal to repair something like
Yeah.
your Zeus Clipper, and it's just nice to have that spirit sitting there, or vice versa. So that's not a push for anyone to spend more money on two daily drivers. But what I'm saying is if you have two, I don't necessarily look at that as like a problem. It really just gives you flexibility in the
Yep.
future.
And keep in mind, guys, this is all very, very opinion based. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Me personally, I don't compare ships very often. I don't think that one ship is better than another. I'm very excited for the Zeus, and it's probably going to be one of those that I hop in when Grim
Yep.
and I are on and we're doing our bounty hunting. And I know Grim, you have a cargo Zeus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. I have
Um,
the Clipper.
So,
Yep.
I'll be on there with Grim crewing that, helping him with
Yep.
cargo and just generally
And
being around.
Red Samurai
So,
brings up an interesting point, which again, this goes into the subjective nature of it. Samurai
mhm,
says three entrances in the Zeus rather than the Crusaders' notorious one ramp entrance.
true.
But here's the thing:
Very-
to another player, that one ramp is the benefit, because
Yep.
remember, the three entrances on the Zeus mean three places someone can board your ship and
Yep.
and exploit, versus the Spirit's one entrance that's easier to guard against, right?
I'm
So
alone. I'm guarding one door versus
right. And
three.
and that's not
And
an
that's
argument. That's not an
important for me.
argument against the Zeus. Some people
Yep.
prefer flexibility in there, and because
Yep.
maybe because that could work the reverse way. You can sneak back
Yep.
on your own ship if it's being attacked. So
Exactly.
there's a lot that goes into that, but essentially what that means is that what's one person's garbage is another person's gem, and vice versa. So,
Trash and treasure. That's truth.
to me, that's actually the cool thing about Star Citizen is the pluses and minuses aren't always just the stats or just the features. Sometimes it just is your personal approach to playing
Preference.
the game, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, all right, Spirit C1. I think a lot of people are excited that's out. Now let's go to
I
the
personally
Argo
love the
SRV.
C1. I can't wait for the E1.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Argo SRV, this is a pretty big one. I think this is a pretty important one because this ship is really sort of the herald of, not the herald the ship, but is the ship that heralds in a lot of unknown. Right.
Yeah.
This is one of those ships to me, like the A2, or the Hull C, or I would even put something like well, any ship that like has the ability to upset the current game world, right? The Hull
Yeah.
C did that with moving massive amounts of cargo.
Sure
This
did.
is something we had never seen before on a scale we haven't seen before. The A2 brought in bombing, not only bombing, but size 10 bombing, like right off the bat. And that really started testing things. People hadn't seen that before. This is a ship that will also bring that type of gameplay. It gives us the ability to tow ships. And essentially, this is using that kind of rope tech that CAG talked about. At least it looks to be
Yeah.
using the rope tech, which was something mentioned on Info Runners. Shout out to Execute for noticing the rope tech kind of look to the tractor beam. When I studied more videos of the SRV pulling ships, it does seem to act like rope tech, which is interesting, which I'm fine with.
Mhm.
But it'll be interesting to see what people do with this ship. I don't know. It may be a place to cause chaos, which is good. We need to test that.
Nope.
Again, another ship I'd put in this category would be something like the Nautilus when it comes on board. Minefields or something, we don't know yet. We don't know how that's going to work. It'll be interesting to see. So, interesting ship. Ender, your opinion on the SRV? I own one. I don't think you own one, if I don't remember. This
I
is the
don't.
only Argo ship I own.
No,
And
this one's one that makes sense for you to own,
yeah,
considering you have the Kraken. Now, I'm
yeah.
curious
Sombra, thanks for
how
the follow.
many it's going to take to move a
So,
Kraken.
so I got to thinking about that, Ender, and I was talking to VMXEO about this, and I don't actually look at so much having the SRV as a way as like a bonus to moving the Kraken anymore. I'm starting to think it'd take 20 SRVs to lift that thing.
It seems to be, yeah.
But what I
Unless
Mhm.
unless it can pull, it's only adding its ability to pull.
Yeah.
And so you're helping the thrusters of the Kraken that wouldn't normally be able to do it, and maybe 4 or 5 SRVs are able to assist enough to lift it. But I don't know.
Well, here's another good reason to have the SRV on a Kraken, in my opinion. I think, you know, like on a real aircraft carrier, for example, they have like full on crane lifts and bulldozers that can
Yeah.
push damaged ships off the side if needed, whatever.
Yep.
And I could see if you have a Kraken and you have a ship that gets destroyed on the deck or is unflyable, you might want that SRV, especially if you don't want to repair that ship. Let's say you're the Kraken, someone kind of flies into you, crashes your ship on your Kraken. Remember, with the Maelstrom stuff, the ship will break apart. You might have big hunks of ship there. To me, the
Yeah.
Argo SRV is your ship, your deck clear.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I
Nope,
mean?
that makes sense. And Bon
So,
Cody just said something that
mhm.
also makes me hopeful to see that in the future. It's the SRV is standard. I'm sure they'll come out with an HRV or something similar in the future, which would actually be really cool to have an HRV that is your lift capability, and then your SRV would be the deck clearing capability, like
Yeah,
you said,
yeah.
which makes complete sense.
And I think SRV stands for ship recovery vehicle.
Mhm.
So it'd be cool if they did have like an HSRV, which was heavy
Mhm.
ship recovery vehicle or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, again, I think this is a little bit of a game changer ship. It'll be interesting to see over the next coming months, how this Ravel says is standard recovery vehicle. Okay, I thought it was ship recovery vehicle. It could be
Let me take a
standard.
look
That
here.
makes
I
sense.
have the SRV's RSI
I don't
page
yeah, and
here.
I don't totally
I
doubt
don't doubt
that.
them.
That
No, I
sounds right.
think that's what it
Standard
is.
actually sounds better than ship recovery vehicle, so
It says it's a specialized recovery ship. Blah 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 blah. No, it doesn't say.
Jabberwocky says standard as well. Okay, we'll go with chats. It's standard recovery vehicle. So
We'll go with that.
yeah, so but regardless, I think it's gonna be a game changer ship. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be a useful ship. I think there's CIG does have a lot of tweaking to do to it. Um, I own one. I love the interior. I think CIG did a bang up job on the interior. Man, is it a cool little ship inside. It really makes me want an Argo starter ship. Man, I think Argo could do a really fun little starter ship. Um, let's move on. Let's move on to the next big ship. I think you all know what it is. It's the RSI Galaxy. I'm just kidding. It's the RSI Arastra. The big concept reveal ship, the RSI Arastra, is known as a heavy mining platform. Interesting choice of words, actually. I thought from the ship description could just be marketing speak. Go through a few of the things on here, though. Its role is mining, although it does do refining as well. Crew of 5. It is 124 meters long in flight mode, 116 meters in landed mode. I think maybe those front forks tucked in a bit, but pretty big ship. That's Kraken size, or sorry, Kraken size, Carrack size,
Right.
125 meters,
Right.
126 for the Carrack. So roughly
Yeah.
Carrack size. Has the onboard refinery, a lot of size, multiple size 3 components. So we're definitely talking a large ship here.
Uh-huh.
Pretty well gunned for an industrial ship. I don't know what's your thoughts on that, Ender, but we got 3 size 3 remote turrets, or I believe, and or sorry, 3 size 3 turrets and 4 size 3 remote turrets. Am I reading that correctly?
I believe
And
so.
then 4 size 4 missiles, 8 size 1. I have
Which
to look
is
at that. Yeah,
a
it's
lot of protection
yeah,
for I mean, it makes sense. Um, I don't think that
yeah.
honestly, if we're being 100% here, I don't think three size
Oh,
threes
3 oh,
and
sorry, 3 turrets with quad size 3 guns. That's right, because they are quad mounts
yes,
on the thing. Yeah, exactly, thanks.
um, but I don't see these being. Yeah, they're three size three remote turrets with four size three, so a total of
Yeah,
3, 6, 9,
yeah,
12.
yeah.
Um, but I don't see that being quite enough to defend this ship. Right? It looks like they have the left, right, and top of the ship pretty well covered.
Mhm.
But it's still going to need protection. It's still going to need defense. For me, the Poncherello is just a great build from RSI. That's what I'm naming this ship when I
The
do buy it.
Poncherello, yeah.
It's
Let
going to
me
be
let
the
me
Poncherello.
let me ask you
Um,
this question though, Ender.
mhm.
We see how well outfitted this ship is.
Yeah.
Does that put the Carrack in a weird place? The Carrack is, in my opinion, one of the most undergunned ships in Star Citizen for what it is. It's a deep space former military exploration ship, but it's really just got two piddly turrets and then those size 4 mounted wing turrets that aren't. It's got no pilot controlled weapons at all on it.
What are the size of the turrets on the top and bottom of the
I don't know.
of
I think they're
the?
size 2. I mean,
They're not huge. They feel big, but they're not big.
yeah, it's
It does put it in a very strange place. I mean, this is um, a ship that is supposed to be a military ship. It's a ship that is supposed to be a long range exploration ship. And
the
it
top and
just
bottom
doesn't
turret.
feel it.
So the top and
Uh-huh.
bottom turret on the Carrack are size 4. I know the ones on the wings are on the nacelles or whatever you want to call them. I didn't know the top and bottom ones were size 4.
Yeah,
I could be
I
wrong.
don't know why. Let me get Urkel.
Yeah,
I
go to
don't know why I
Urkel.
didn't just go there first. Um, but
They all dual size 4. Okay, interesting. But no pilot controlled
it's
weapons.
no pilot controlled weapons. And honestly, it feels, I
It's
mean,
a
the Carrack
military
should
ship.
be
It's a military
better.
ship and meant to go in dangerous places.
Yeah.
All Carrack turrets have two size 4 guns. Only
Yeah.
remote is the top one.
It's
Okay.
2x size 4.
Okay.
Top is remote, rear
Okay. I guess I
is
was wrong.
manned, left and right are manned
But
size 2 or two size 4s.
to me, an explorer should be better gunned than an industrial ship,
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. And maybe that's
especially a military explorer going out into the
yes.
to the front line or beyond it. So, it's very odd to me. It's very odd to me.
Um yeah, they are going to rebalance component sizes, but I don't know um what we're talking about with that.
Yeah,
Sorry guys, I've been sick.
it's all good.
Had to sneeze there. Um and to be honest with you, two size 4s, that's a total of 8 size 4s. When you're looking at like a hammerhead, yeah, okay, that's right. But when you look at this now being brought into production eventually, it kind of makes me feel like maybe it's not quite as powerful. The Carrack is not quite as powerful as it should be. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
so it definitely needs some adjustment there.
yeah, Zarek brings something up about down gun. So I look at all ships as they're meant to mostly battle what's beneath them. I very rarely do bigger ships than that ship because you're just in a bad situation usually. So, for example, a hammerhead fights off fighters. The Ares fights off components, not ships, components. Um, Heavy fighters battle heavy, medium, and light fighters. Heavy fighters aren't battling Idris's. So I always go down with it. So I don't know. I just think the Carrack is in kind of an odd place and probably should have at least some pilot control weapons. Maybe we'll be able to to enslave those to a CPU blade. I don't know, but it seems like an odd thing from like the old ship standards. VG says,
And
oh, go
VG,
ahead.
it's size 3, I believe. That's what we've got
Hmm.
on the
Okay.
paper.
Yeah.
I should say that's VG. You made these for us, right?
Yeah, the stats things. Yes. Yeah. What we're seeing here, and I appreciate that, VG. It was a big help. What you're
100%.
seeing here is some turntables of the Nocturne paint, which is the
I
concierge
love it.
paint for the
I love it.
Arastra. I think the Arastra looks cool. I would love if it was. I'd love if that had been a big salvage ship. That's what I'd love. But we have the Reclaimer, so I'm not
So
expecting it.
I here's the thing. I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I am so glad you said it because I was like, if it were salvage, I'd have that ship.
Yeah.
I think that this is better salvage than the Reclaimer, and I don't want a Reclaimer. I like salvage, but I don't want a Reclaimer. I got to be honest with you. I don't feel like it's just such a
Yeah, the
hard fucking
Reclaimer
ship.
has never really been for me.
Yeah.
It's a
I
cool
love
ship for
my
RP
Vulture.
purposes, but yeah,
Absolutely.
it's just
Especially if you've got an alien on board and are having to
yes.
survive that, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
I would have loved this ship to be a salvage ship. Mining is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't enjoy mining. I like seeing people do it, and I love that it's a job. I do want to say though, Grim, I want to give you kudos. You came out of the gate saying, "I'm thinking this is 120 meters," and you literally landed. It's
Nailed
4 meters shorter than that.
Yeah.
And flying, it's 4 meters longer than that. So you nailed that
Went
right on
right
the
in the
head.
middle. I know. Yeah, no,
You
I
did
really
an
did.
amazing job on that.
Yeah, and
Um,
I know why I was off on the I know why I was 4 meters short on the flight mode is because the hollow model does not have the actual mining turrets on it. It has no mining turrets on it. I had to put those on it and model them. So um
yeah.
anyway, I
Quinn
think
says we needed the mining ship more though, and the only response I have to that is, did we though?
so
Did we?
here's where I see that. I see that as the mining ship line is complete, right? So
Yeah.
you have the rock, or so you have hand mining, you have the
Yeah.
rock DS,
Rock DS.
prospector, mole, which takes you about to that 3-4 person range. Then you have
Yeah.
the Arastra, which takes you about to that 5 minimum crew, but you're probably going to want more for engineers, 5 or drivers of the rocks that it can hold in it as well. So you're starting to get to 5 to 8, and then capital the Orion, right? So
Yeah.
mole is the
Yeah.
medium. Mole's the medium, Arastra's the large, Orion the capital. So to me, the mining ship line is filled out. Now, I
Yeah.
think what this can inform us on, though, is what needs to be filled out for salvage, what needs to be, So, for example, for
I could
salvage,
see this being the top of the salvage list. A
hmm,
Arastra salvage, I could see that being the largest salvage ship there
salvage
is.
variant, yeah. I mean, they could easily
Because
do it. It's
I don't
just
see it
lasers.
needing to be capital sized, right?
Yeah,
I understand capital size mining because there are huge rocks out there, but
yeah,
unless you're salvaging what are they, Pegasus? That's the biggest ship.
yeah,
Uh, unless you're salvaging
yeah.
one of
Or
those, I don't see that
yeah,
being a
Bangles
thing. So
biggest that
yeah,
we'll probably
Bangle.
see. There's a
I don't
retribution,
see
but
that
I
being
won't
a
see it.
thing.
I don't think we'll see the retribution in game.
I don't either.
The
Um,
so
so yeah,
for
I think that
salvage, we have Vulture, which is the prospector equal, and we have the Reclaimer, which is the Orion sort of level. The Reclaimer, I consider the Reclaimer a capital salvage ship.
yeah,
So what we're missing is we're missing the medium and the large, and the ground vehicle. Now, some people
well, are
may
we missing the medium for it? Wouldn't that be the Reclaimer?
the Reclaimer's capital though. Well,
Is it
some
really?
people call the Reclaimer large because it's definitely big. I mean, the Reclaimer's a monster. Some people call the
Yeah,
Reclaimer large. I actually think when they redo the components for the Reclaimer, it's going to
it'll
get
be
capital
capital.
components and it's going to be the capital salvage ship, in my opinion.
You know what? Okay, let's go with that. Let that be the capital. Let's get this RSI.
Yeah.
We'll call it. I don't know. I'll have a name soon.
Right. So
Okay.
Quinn says the reclaimer
Um,
has a size 4 reactor that would put it into the capital category. So yeah, I think it's going to go capital.
okay. So you have the Vulture, right, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have the reclaimer is the capital ship.
Mm-hmm.
There's no large
Mm-mm.
currently, right?
Mm-mm.
So
No.
this could be the large. So we'll call it the Baker, right? Because that would be the partner to the
Right.
Estrada,
There you go.
the Poncherella,
Yeah.
um, the
Yes.
Wilcox. We'll call it the
Yeah.
Wilcox. Um, so we need a large size. You know what, Quinn? Yeah, I'm going to beg for this because I love the look of the Arastra.
Yeah.
I'm not a minor. Um,
Well,
and I'm also older than 18. So
yeah, I think the other salvage ships could fall into a couple manufacturers' domain. I think it'd be interesting to have an Argo salvage ship, maybe the competitor to the Mole. It'd be interesting to see Drake continue the Vulture line up to a bigger scale, so something like a Super Vulture or something, right? Um,
yeah,
so I think there's definitely some options there. What we do know is that they are seriously working on more salvage mechanics. The hull munching is coming very soon, and with that, we're going to see more salvage ships come out. I'm
yeah,
100% convinced of that. And you do kind of got to look at where they're going with their ship manufacturers. Now they got a lot of RSI ships to get through.
they do.
So
I don't think we.
I think it's going to be whatever the manufacturer is after that that's going to handle some of the salvage ships. So here's a question I'll pose to you, and those in chat. CIG has said that they're going to work on the RSI family of ships for a while. They said Polaris is coming first, and but also the Apollo's in production. Then the Galaxy, and then the Perseus are all on tap. Do we think the Arastra is being plugged into that production pipeline, or do we think that one's waiting for later because John Crew has not mentioned that it's being fed into this push?
I like job for a butcher's answer to this. Yes, is their
There you go.
answer, and I think that's no. I think that it could make sense to throw it in there because they're throwing in, if I'm not mistaken, the Apollo's in that
Yep.
list, right?
And that's two ships
Um,
technically, triage and
and
medevac.
yeah, and this thing looks so much like a mix between a Galaxy and Apollo. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
It's I think that they could put it in there, but I don't know. It might not be soon. I could be wrong. I'd like to see them go ahead and get it done because what I'd like
Yeah.
to see is maybe Crusader get a little bit of love after,
Yeah.
like for concepting. Somebody asked what I think it was Blood. Was it you, Blood? Yeah. What manufacturers do we want the large and medium salvage? Honestly, I'd love to see a medium salvage from Crusader. Um,
Hmm.
I know it doesn't 100% make sense for them, but I love Crusader, so
It'd be cool to see what the industrial side of Crusader is.
it could be.
Yep.
And yeah, Zarek, Anvil could be next. But
Yeah.
I
I've
don't
been
know who
thinking
needs the
about
most love
this.
right now.
I personally, after RSI, I have a feeling. I keep thinking they're either going to go to Misk, go back to Misk, or
Yeah,
we could see them pivot to Aegis, and I have a reason why I think they may pivot to Aegis.
I wouldn't
Um,
mind them pivoting to Aegis, honestly.
Now the funny thing is I don't think Aegis would have the same push that RSI is going to have in terms of it doesn't have as many backlog ships. But one reason I think that it could benefit to do Aegis is because we know Squadron 42 is getting close-ish, right? We are all expecting it end of year next year. But regardless, John Cruz said that the Idris will drop and all of its variants will drop day one with Squadron 42. The Idris, I almost can guarantee, is not PU. They haven't done the PU pass on it yet because it will have
Mhm.
probably some changes internally and probably some quality of life stuff into the PU version. But they're going to have to do that push on it. They also are. They kind of said that the Javelin would be after Squadron 42, but they're not going to be able to hold off too long on giving the Javelin to players because the Idris owners will have gotten theirs when Squadron 42 comes. So CIG is going to really need to get the Javelin in people's hands to kind of quell any issues. So they're going
Yeah.
to need to work on the Javelin. Um, the other big ship that they have not released on Aegis is the Nautilus and the Vulcan. The Vulcan is the other one. So there are some outstanding, and I could easily see them going, oh, you know what? We're going to add a large salvage ship or a medium salvage ship made by Aegis. They already
Yeah.
make the Reclaimer, right? Makes sense.
Right.
So I could see Aegis possibly being the next one. The other alternative would be Misk, and for Misk, the reason I think they could do that is because I think they would rework a lot of older Misk ships, bring them up to par. They still have the whole B, the whole D, the whole E, the Odyssey, and the Expanse to do. So Misk has got quite a few ships
Honestly,
that
it'd
are
be
and
nice
the
to see
Endeavor,
that
and the
miss
Endeavor.
get
Yeah,
done, and the Endeavor.
yeah, yeah.
Now we know the Endeavor's not going to be part. I think if they start working on it, I don't think the Endeavor is going to be part of that
The
team.
only
I
thing
think
I'll
they'll start
yes,
work on
the only thing I'll say
and
about that.
reconcept.
The only thing I'll say about that though is that I think people, when CIG says they're working on a family of ships, I don't always think that means all of them going into flight
Exactly.
ready production. I guarantee you that
Exactly.
means some go in flight ready production and maybe a couple go into reconcepting, but then get
Yep.
reconcepted and then put on ice for a little bit. They've done that quite a bit. They did that with the Polaris. See, the Polaris got its internal rework, concept rework like a year and a half ago, and it's just now been in production. So I
Yep.
could see them possibly reconcepting the Endeavor. I could
Absolutely.
see them, and then I could see them possibly doing the D and E, and then the Odyssey and the Expanse. So again, there's more
Yeah.
ships. So that's my vote.
No, and I think that's a good reason to do it. And I do think that it's something that needs some love because Endeavor, or not Endeavor, but
Yeah,
Misk in general has a lot of ships that need to be touched
yeah,
and kind of changed up. And honestly, it'd be nice to see them reconcept the Endeavor, make it larger the way they've been discussing, the way we've all kind of assumed that it's going to happen.
yeah,
So it'd be a good time to go ahead and get that done. And I got to be honest with you, it'd be nice to see the Expanse and the Orion get finished.
yeah. I see that as well, Zarek. Looks like the entire Idris model is in, including the interior, possibly textures too, in the latest Evo build.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
So again, I mean, and here's the thing, maybe
Right.
they're already starting to test it for PU. Boy, I tell you what, there's two things happening there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We could see this being tested because they may open the entire interior for a big tour for Invictus. I could see that. But I guarantee you they're starting now to get that ship ready for Squadron 42's launch, which I still think is late next year. I can tell
Yeah.
you that I have looked at a lot of the Javelin's interior, not all of it, but a lot of it. It is massive. Put it this way, there's a basketball court in it. I'll just leave it at
Damn.
that. The interiors of these ships definitely exist. That I'm very well aware of, but there's still a
Sure.
lot of PU specific things that I'm not sure if they've done. So I'll be really interested to see if the Idris interior has it. I'll be able to check that out. But regardless, it's an exciting time. So
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about this. Should we get to our fleet stuff, Ender?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and switch over to you now?
Yeah. Let me cut off this and turn on this, and I
Okay,
think
let
I'm good.
me pop up
To,
yours big on the screen.
go. And what
Okay.
I'll
All
do
right.
is
You are good. So, everyone, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about our fleets. By the way, VG, Vasi, thank you so much for making those little stat sheets for us. That was really great and helped me out. I had kind of a busy day, so I really appreciate you doing that. Took time out of his own day to do that. So, really cool. Thank you very much.
yeah.
Let's talk about our fleets. Ender, what are we doing?
So we're going to discuss how our fleets have changed this IAE, and also um, any moves that we made that we're willing to share, and where we'd like our fleets to go in the future.
Mhm.
Mine is a very basic fleet, as you can see. So I've got my Galaxy. I had my Apollo Medevac and a C8 Pisces, my E1, C1 Vulture, my PTV. And then over for my industrial wing, and then for my combat wing, I have the F8 Lightning, the Arrow, the Zeus, the Ranger, the Perseus, and the A1. Now, I was trying to find a way, because I have a light fighter in the Arrow here, and a heavy fighter in the F8. I really wanted to find a way to get a good medium fighter. I've always loved the F7, so finding a way to get the F7 was important to me. And I kind of have upgraded everything to what it was, or it was a part of the Spirit Pack that I didn't want to melt the Spirit Pack, because I'd actually end up paying like $90 more for the E1, the C1, and an F7 than I did for the pack. And I don't want to lose the E1 or C1. I love those ships. They are my favorite. The A1's not my cup of tea, so I'm not going to be bombing anything. So what I ended up doing was melting my Perseus, taking my A1, upgrading it to a Perseus, and then buying the F7M Super Hornet. So my current fleet, I still have my medical wing with the Apollo for when you and I are just, it's just us maybe, or maybe me and Bingo. The C8R for that medical Galaxy, when I have the Galaxy and the medical module, or the Galaxy, the medical module attached to it. So that's my medical wing. My industrial is still the E1, Vulture, C1, and the PTV for my cargo runs to sell. And then my combat wing now looks like the Perseus, which I could not lose, and I'm really glad I locked that in. The F8 Lightning for my heavy fighter, Super Hornet for my medium fighter, and Arrow for the light fighter. Yes, I know there are some people, probably, that don't like Anvil, but I got to tell you, their fighters, in my opinion, are some of the best looking and most fun to fly. And then I've got that Zeus Mark II for bounty hunting with you. And that Zeus, I mean, look, I love the Zeus. I got my hands on that as soon as I was able to, because I really like the look of the Zeus and just the internal layout, and I couldn't not get it.
Especially if bounty hunting turns out to be a really cool gameplay loop, which it could.
Exactly.
I'm talking NPC bounty hunting. Could be a lot of fun.
Exactly. And not just, I don't want to just go around blowing up ships. This is going to allow us to be able to blow up ships, but also maybe come in and pick a guy up and tie him up and bring him back. So,
well, let me hit you with the first question from chat then.
Absolutely.
In your medical wing, why a Galaxy over the Endeavor, Hope class Endeavor?
So I wanted something that wasn't too large, and that Endeavor is going to be a very, very large ship. I'm only going to be able to run that if I have a lot of people on.
And a lot of unknowns.
A lot of unknowns with that. I wanted something that I could, I can fly it. I can be the pilot for it and have somebody else running my medical wing, or I can be down there in the medical wing, have somebody else flying the ship, captaining, and not be a captain of my own ship. And that C8R fits perfectly in there. It's not too big, so I'm not feeling like I'm going to be running around a ship all damn day. And it really allows me for, 7, 8 people that I've got online to be able to run medical. And I don't need, 10, 12, 15 plus people, because you got to remember, I'm going to have engineer, pilot, co-pilot, another engineer, because there's this is not a tiny ship. It's 100 meters, so it's not huge though. And then, my medical personnel.
Right.
So I didn't want something so big that it was daunting for me to look at and go, all right. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to have an Endeavor and get that Hope class module and really get that going. But yeah, no. So somebody says Apollo Triage or Medevac, and why? The one I've got is the Medevac, and I got it just because it's got a little more missiles and a little more armor to it. But also because my character is going to be a movie buff, and it's from a movie in the game, so it makes sense for him to have that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thought process on that. Now for my future, not a lot's going to change. I did have there's not an extra.
Real quick before you move on.
Yeah.
One more question. Red Samurai says Apollo Triage or Medevac, and why?
So the Medevac has more armor. Not a ton, but enough for me to want it. But also, it's got a few more missiles, so extra defense.
It's a little faster,
because, and I think it might be a little faster.
Just a tad, yeah. It's a little faster.
So it's an upgrade, but also, like I was saying, my character is a movie
it's a
buff,
little slower.
and it makes
it's a little
sense.
Slower. That's okay.
Which I'm fine with
because of the heavy armor. Yeah,
because of the heavy armor, which makes sense. And my character's a movie buff, so it makes sense for him to see that and go, I think I'd like that.
Yeah.
Does it fit nicely? Okay, so will the C8R fit in the Galaxy to use as a taxi? Yes, Mountain Douche. They confirmed that when they announced the Galaxy. The C8R had just come out. I was hopeful that the Apollos would kind of fit in that area. But seeing as the Apollo is almost half the size of the Galaxy, it doesn't make sense. So the C8R makes sense, and it will fit into that Galaxy as a nice little taxi.
Yeah.
And then in the future, my plan... Yeah. Oh, thank you. And then... Sisyphus, what's up, dude?
Sisyphus.
The update, the future of my fleet doesn't look too grand. Honestly, I need an STV for my E1 so I can ferry those executives around or some vehicle to drive, whatever's going to fit in there. I'd love a more than 2-seater.
The E1 is great because it's going to allow you to test out the passenger gameplay loop in a smaller scale fashion. And if you decide you're like with the E1 that you're just like, this is a hell of a lot of fun, then you can look at things like the Genesis and stuff like that. But this is a great place to be on a very question marky gameplay loop, the E1. So thank you, Thunderman, for that follow, and Sisyphus. Continue, Ender.
And then I will get a Galaxy base building module. Now I'm not going to get another Galaxy. I'll swap the modules as I need to, depending on what we're doing. But I really like the idea of being able to assist the Pioneer in base building with being able to build up to large parts. And then I need a Scorpius because my wife is my forever gunner, and I need something for her to gun in. And the Super Hornet's not it. It's just not the gunship that I want. So I'll end up getting a Scorpius. Now, this isn't taking into account that if they announce some other stuff, I'll probably end up getting.
Well, yeah, there's also a lot of unknown planning and stuff like that.
Yep.
So,
but this is currently where I'd like to kind of settle my fleet. I know I can buy a vehicle in game, and that may end up being it, but I'd love to have something for that executive transport. So
very, very. I think it's a very well-rounded fleet, especially for what you're trying to do. And
Feathers
what your scope
said
is.
Something awesome. He said it a few minutes ago. I hope the Genesis is reconcepted to look like the Spirit. That would be pretty cool.
I'm working on my own Genesis Starliner reconcept, and it might have a very strong Spirit vibe. So I'll unveil that soon.
Nick Dad says Scorpius over Hurricane. Oddly enough, I like the look of the Scorpius. It's aesthetic for me. It's not that I think it's any better. Aesthetically, it's a pleasing ship to me. Don't get me wrong. I know that the Scorpius has its issues, but I just love the look of that thing flying. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
that's
I think you've made some good waves,
my
and I think you've got
fleet.
some interesting. You still have some interesting forward approaches to there, though, with like the STV, the
Yeah.
the whatchamacallit, the I got you on the big screen here. Stand by. The STV, the PTV, and stuff like that. You still have some ships that can be upgraded.
Yeah.
I still think you have a lot of flexibility there. For example, if things like passenger gameplay doesn't work out, if CI just doesn't nail it, the E1 can be melted. If they don't
Uh-huh.
nail bounty hunting gameplay, then the MR can be melted. You have
Exactly.
flexibility there in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Real quick, everyone, before we get to mine, just want to remind everyone that if you haven't, where is it? I don't know where it went. Stand by. We are doing the IAE StarJump Fleet Viewer IAE poster giveaway. If you're on Twitch, all you got to do is do exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket space max. And if you're on YouTube, all you need to do is click on the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. There's a YouTube link there that will take you to our Crucible Shipyard video. Leave a comment in that video. It can be any kind of comment, can be one word, doesn't matter. And I'll use a program that pulls all of the comments that were just made today, and that will enter you in for a giveaway there. I will tell you, though, if you do win on YouTube, you need to be in our Discord, or you need to or contact me through Discord, DM me, contact me through Twitter, something. I'll need to be able to get a hold of you. And verify that it's you. But do that. We'll be giving this poster away at the end of the show. Okay, so let's go into mine. I'm about to take you on a little bit of a whirlwind. Oh, real quick, other interesting factoid that VG let me know. IAE total update as of today, 18,400,000 made at this IAE, which is incredible.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
All right. Let's go into crazy land.
This is real quick. I'm going to post the donate link for the Tiltify and just re-mention raising money for Movember this month and giving away a Tobii Eye Tracker 5. Every $10 donated will get you one entry up to 10 entries. Just put your Twitch username in there, please.
Yeah, repend
and that is it. Thank you. And thank you for everybody who has donated. You can go to my channel now and hit exclamation ticket space max and you will get your tickets.
Yeah. Shadow Wolf, thank you for that follow. So this is the fleet as it was. I obviously transport and industrial are kind of two mainstays of my future money making. Exploration I have a lot of high hopes for, but also a lot of doubts. Security, I think if you're playing Star Citizen, that's got to be a part of your equation because the systemic nature of the game, everything's going to need to be defended in some way. And then command and control, I'm just a big fan of the Kraken. It's my favorite ship in the game. And by the way, for those who use the Kraken and Fleet Viewer, the Kraken might be getting a visual update very soon that takes it much closer to its in-game look.
Whoa.
So, also the Galaxy's been redone on my end too. I just need to get it integrated. It looks a lot better. The new one looks better on both of those ships. Amalama, thank you for that follow. And then I had kind of an undefined category down here with the Banu Merchantmen. The issue with this Thunderballs 1983. Thank you for that follow.
Good year, 83. Yes, good year.
Yes,
best year.
Yes. By the way, real quick, everyone, just and Major Star Stuff, thank you as well. Rating with 4 people. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Big old salute to you. I just want to go ahead and say we've had an incredible night, by the way, before I continue. We're up to like 95 viewers on Twitch, and I think YouTube we're hovering around 100. And that's before any raids tonight. We just got Major Star Stuff raid. Thank you so much for that. That's incredible. So really appreciate everyone coming out to hear me and Ender chit chat and all that good stuff. It's really appreciated. Major Star Stuff, thank you so much. Salute to you, buddy. Thanks for coming to hang out. We're looking at our previous, current, and future fleets. So this is where I was at. My biggest issue with my fleet as it is though, or as it was, is there was a lot of redundancy, right? So there's multiple ships that can kind of do the same thing. Like for example, for under the exploration, did I really need a Zeus? And of course, you know what I mean?
Right.
You just starts to be a lot of redundancy there. So
Sure.
what I realized though was I actually had a lot of store credit locked up into some stuff that were I thought were in buybacks, but they weren't. They were just buried so far down my ship list, I didn't know I had them.
Hmm.
Yersi and Blue Zoo, thank you for the follows. Appreciate you. I just didn't know they were there. So I used
Yeah.
Hanger.link, looked at my stuff in my Hanger, reordered it by money value, and just melted a bunch of stuff into buybacks. And I was able to make some massive changes to the fleet. Now, I
Nice.
did invest some new money, not a ton, but it was a little bit of new money on the order of 200. So here
I
is
mean, it's better than 2000. So,
yes, but based off what I was able to melt and that money, some pretty major changes happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to
yeah.
my current. So what ended up happening? The very first thing I did was I looked at the loaner for the hull D, and it is a hull C. I was able to get a CCU to the hull D for pretty much just store credit. So I had the whole C to use, but the whole D to in the future, and the whole D specifically, when it goes flight ready, it's going to go way up in price. The whole D can move
Yeah.
20,000 SCU of cargo.
Yeah. Lock it in now.
This is going to be the ship that pays for the upkeep of everything. This is my
Yeah.
workhorse. Now you might say, why not go for the whole E? The hull E is exponentially bigger than the hull D, and I start to worry that the hull E is an org effort, while the hull C and hull D are big group efforts. Um, the cool thing though about the hull D is you don't have to load it up fully. You could load up one
Right.
spindle if you want to do a whole C size load, right?
Yeah.
It just made sense to go that route. So that was the first big change. The next thing I did was actually, let me go here so I can flip back and forth. So the next thing so I didn't make any other changes here. I like my C1 and I like my CL. I like that redundancy there. The C2 Hercules is just a great flexible, a really good flexible ship, low crew requirement.
Yeah.
E1, I'm in the same boat as you, Ender. I'm very interested in the passenger gameplay loop, but I'm not totally committed to it from a Genesis level.
Yep.
I'm kind of starting small. Now, here's where the big changes will start to occur. I First off, I melted the A1. I took Ender's advice, and I was kind of like, why do I have a bomber? I don't really intend on doing any bombing. Nanaganamo. Hopefully, I got that right. Thank you for the follow. So I melted that. And by melting other things that I didn't realize I had, namely the Orion, which I'd always meant to put in buybacks because I always intended to use that credit. I put that forward with some other credit I had and was able to grab or pull the Idris back out of buybacks,
Nice.
which to me is going to be an awesome ship to operate with Ender and other crew. You know, Ender can have his F8 parked in there inside the hangar. It's just going to be a great role play platform. Um, Obviously, my Nautilus F8 and Zeus Mark II MR did not change.
Hmm.
Kind of sitting under the security thing. Moved my
Yeah.
Polaris over to command and control. I see the Polaris being the smaller operation command and control, Kraken being the big dog you pull out once a month, maybe. Did switch
Right.
out or is planning to switch out with Starlet's help from a Dragonfly to a Dragonfly Yellow Jacket. I always like the yellow one. Um, Melted the Zeus ES, the Exploration Zeus, got rid of it. Didn't see a need for it. Didn't make any sense. And then did I lose anything else there? Nope. All the rest stayed the same there. Now, I added the Arastra, but only temporarily because I wanted to just put it in buyback. So it's using credit and needs to be brought back into my fleet. So the Arastra won't stay, but I at least wanted it in buyback. Um, Rest of the ships all remain the same. Obviously, Galaxy, Pioneer, base building is going to be a huge deal for me and Ender, I think, just in general, not just building our own
Yeah.
bases, but helping people build bases. It's going to be probably the
Yep.
number one thing I do within the STARJUMP org is to offer base building services to smaller
Yeah.
groups. That's going to be a big deal for us.
Yep.
VGSC asks why Idris and Kraken. To me, they do serve very different roles. VG, the Kraken is sort of a behind the lines emergent gameplay ship. I don't look at it as a ship I even remotely take into combat. Maybe I look at it as being a way station for other stuff I'm doing, whether it's cargo gameplay, salvage gameplay, whatever. The Idris is a ship of the line. It is the tip of the spear along with the Polaris that go in first. Probably specifically the Idris. This is when the StarJump org needs to go to war with another group because they're harassing us or something. So I do think there's a difference there. The future stuff, though, if I go in the future, I obviously see melting the Arastra and
Hmm.
possibly using that credit to get a Crucible because I think repair is something is I'm really lacking here. I do have the Kraken that can do some repair, but I think the Crucible could be needed on an org level. But under
Yeah.
consideration are these other ships too. All somewhat in that price regime. Some a
Yeah.
little lesser, some a little bit more. So the Starliner's a little bit more. If passenger gameplay ends up being a winner, I could see myself eventually moving to the Starliner. The Raylan I'm interested in just because it's cool factor. The Star Runner, it's one of those ships that I melted it. It's gone. I can't say that there's not just a little bit of regret that sits deep down in the soul about losing the Star Runner, to be
I was
totally honest with you.
surprised when you did
Yeah.
melt the Starliner.
Yeah,
I
Star Runner,
remember
yeah,
us
yeah.
having that discussion, and I was
Yeah.
surprised then.
I
Real
mean,
quick, I want to hit the
yeah,
question that's been asked.
yeah.
Why put Arastra, Orion, BMM in buyback? Seems risky when you consider obvious price hikes coming for them.
Because generally I am somewhat, it's a great question. I follow the ship teams like ridiculously closely what they're working on, what's in the pipeline, not just what ships are in the pipeline, but what ancillary ship related gameplay development is also in the pipelines that could relate to possible ships. When I think a ship is even close or even remotely close to being like going into production, even if it ends up being wrong, even if I end up being wrong, I'll pull it out of buybacks before the price goes up. Um, and again, the buybacks, I mean, that's why you have it, right? So you can get it for that lower price, so you're not bought in so heavily. They don't increase in price because they are a buyback, so it locks me in. But there's always that risk that CIG will remove that policy and change buyback prices. I think that would be the implosion of the community.
Yeah.
But there it is, right? So, and then the Ares Inferno is another ship that I have a little bit of regret melting. I never flew it, but I could see in the future for base defense and outpost defense, the Ares will be really, really important.
Mhm.
Eskimonian says, question, you think they'll do a price hike and bring the Reclaimer close to the Arastra in price when they get hull munching in? Very possible. I think the Reclaimer could go up in price. However, I think to bring the Reclaimer up in price, they probably need to do a polish pass on the Reclaimer. It really is in
A
need of it.
big polish pass. Yeah.
And again, when you see them working on the Idris and other stuff like that, it makes you wonder if they're going to pop open the old Aegis stuff. And so VG says, question, buybacks still have price lock? I thought they went up when prices increased. No, VG. Currently, they hold and are price locked. Doesn't mean they will always be. I advise keeping a close eye on that because I tried to pull a buyback out now and it was still the lower price.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I need to look at that. If Starlet's in chat, she can reassure us. My buybacks though are less about having it in at the price probably and more CCUs and buybacks, however, are not locked. CCU and hangar do. Okay, there you go. That sounds right. Either way, I just have them in buyback so I can get them out before they go to flight ready pricing. That's my bigger concern is the flight ready price. They'll raise it incrementally during its development, but when it goes flight ready is when the bigger concern is for me. You saw that with the Hull C. It jumped $150 when it went flight ready. $150 when it went flight ready. It's incredible.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's where I'm at. A lot of moving and shaking. Obviously, the big thing there is the Idris added. Um, However, when someone says, "Well, would you keep the Idris?" I don't know, but here's another way to think of it. CIG still has a number of things they could do to monetize the game, right? So, for example, as base building gets further along, I not only do I think we're going to see the land claims come back, I think we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see an expanded option set for land claims. Before it was just the estate and part and like the smaller
Yeah.
one. I forget what the smaller one was, parcel or something. I forget what it was. Anyways, I
Yeah.
could see them coming out with more estate sizes or different types of beacons that you can place down to do scanning and a lot of other base building stuff. Mobile builders, shield generators, all that crap. Now we're going to craft all that and whatnot, but I can pretty much tell you any base building stuff that comes online will be stuff I'm interested in. At that point, does that mean a crucible gets melted or the Idris or whatever? Probably. Um, what I also try to do is be careful of overlap. So, for example, me and Ender have some ships the same, but some ships we won't, and that'll be on
Hmm.
purpose because we'll be serving on each other's ships. So yeah, that's where it's at. So obviously some big changes. A lot of mine is all credit tied up though, and that gets moved around. I think the big thing for me, and we don't want to go too much longer, but the big thing for me will be if this F7 Mark II ship comes out for Luminali,
Yep.
if there's some sort of event. I'll be very, very interested in that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I definitely would upgrade my F7
Yep.
M to a Mark II if I got the opportunity. Real quick, Admiral Kusanagi did ask,
Yep.
is there a concern in not specializing in one or two, in one or a few careers with people and orgs trying to do it all? I think some orgs will try to do it all.
Yeah.
I think that Grim and I have kind of settled on what, two or three major things, but everything else that we have feeds into those. So base building, and then protection, as we're able to do, and then salvage and things like that. And everything else kind of feeds into that, whether it's feeding it money by doing the executive deliveries with the my E1. Everything kind of feeds into that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
I think you have to be careful too, personally, with having an org centered completely around one profession loop or something, because if there's up and down moments in that, first off, I think it limits player interest as well. So I think
yeah,
we always envisioned StarJump to be a mostly good oriented, that much we
yeah,
know, but also more malicious services, right? So defense, but things like outpost building could factor into defense, right? It's helping smaller orgs get that leg up, right? That may mean moving a lot of cargo for them. It may mean helping them get their salvage operation on the ground. I think defense. I think no matter what you do in Star Citizen, whether you're a cargo gameplay person, a salvage person, you're going to all have to be into combat. The people that
right,
just say they'll never do any combat, oof, I don't know. CIG has systemically built this game where combat and self-preservation is a thing. So,
yeah,
you have to pay attention to that somewhat. So I think for Star Jump, we're trying to keep it a little bit broad in terms of what we focus on to give us maximum flexibility to our members. But at the same time, we are trying to lock a few things down. For example, I do think we'll be aligned good.
yes,
We're not like an evil pirate org or anything.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And for those who are evil pirate orgs, do you think?
Rock on, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
coming for you,
Um,
or I'm not.
let's wrap
We'll
up
see.
this giveaway. Um, All right, everyone on Twitch and YouTube, go ahead and get your comments in on YouTube video link that's pinned to the top of the chat, or Twitch. Go ahead and do exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket, Mats. We're going to be closing this up in just a minute. Seriously.
While we're waiting for that to close up, just one
Yes.
more time, want to tell everybody I am giving away a Tobii Eye Tracker. Again, Tobii Eye Tracker giveaway. I haven't got a date for that. It will be the end of November-ish. Unfortunately, I haven't really been able to push for my giveaways and everything. Did my stuff freeze just now? Am I frozen?
You don't look frozen to me.
No, I'm good.
You look good.
It was just
Jackie,
my
thank you.
computer, me being an idiot. So in order to enter that giveaway, I am raising money for Movember. So that'll be this link. Every $10 that you donate, please add your, again, I'm going to say this, Twitch username, because it has to be on Twitch. Every $10 gets you one entry, and I'll probably be giving that away, at the end of next week, maybe next Friday, for the Tobii Eye. And we'll be raising money on throughout. I can tell you that the event this year has raised $80,000, and I've been lucky enough to help by raising so far, I think $50, which is amazing.
Incredible.
And I've only been doing that tonight. So thank you, all of you, for your help. Every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
But if you donate, again, I'll get you guys set up and get tickets sent out and everything. Just put your Twitch username on your name so that I can get that taken care of.
Yep.
Quick question: what's Movember? Eskimonian. Sorry, that is an extremely good question, and I apologize for not going through that. Movember is a charity that focuses on men's mental and physical health. On the mental health side, suicide prevention is very, very important to me. I am a veteran, and veteran suicides are just too damn high. And honestly, male suicides in general are too damn high. And so focusing on men's mental health and mental health awareness is important to me. But it also focuses on the physical health, cancer, specifically testicular cancer in men.
I have no idea.
I am a bladder cancer survivor. So any kind of cancer in that general region is scary to me. And so being able to help raise money for that cause is important.
Yeah.
That's Movember. You can take a look at them if you're interested in. I know that not everybody knows what these are, and I can tell you that I've done a lot of research on any charity that I personally back, but that doesn't mean that you know anything about it. So feel free to go to their website here. Stand by, getting it set up because I messed up. There we go. Copy there. Go to their website here. Take a look at what they do. Do some research on them, and if you feel like backing them, please do. You don't have to use my campaign to do it. Movember is something that I doesn't matter.
No, Matt. Thank you, buddy.
3 times. Saig, I really hope that this is the only time, and I don't want it to happen again. So I'm very glad that he survived all 3 times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what Movember is, and feel free to donate or not donate, or do what you got to do.
Graham, and everyone, this goes without saying. If you are obviously if you are over here on Twitch already, please go ahead over to our boy Ender's channel. Just post it there. Give him a follow. And give STARJUMP Starlet and VMXEO, who may still be in chat, just go ahead and give them the big old double salutes. Really appreciate their help and support on all things STARJUMP. Now, Aussie the Ginger, thank you so much for that follow. Salute. Let's go ahead and do some giveaways. What do you say? Okay, everyone, we are flipping over to Stream Elements. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and end this. Hopefully you got in. Hopefully you got 44 entrants, 200 tickets purchased. closing the
Yeah.
giveaway in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Giveaway is closed. Congrats on whoever the winner is going to be, and good luck to everyone. I will say, if you do win and you're on Twitch, you need to DM me, okay? Or I'll DM you. I'll say hi or congrats or something like that. You need to send me your address so I can get you the poster when I process them. Here we go. We're going to draw a winner. You do need to respond in chat. You do need to respond into chat on both YouTube and Twitch. If you don't, then I will draw another winner. Here we go. In 3.
I'll see the ginger.
2.
If I win for some reason, it's going to you.
There you go. Here we go. Drawing a winner. Boom. Kavotha. We all know Kavotha. Kavotha, congrats. Kavotha, Kavotha, you already have me on Discord, buddy. Just DM me your address. Make sure I have that, and I'll be processing these probably next week.
I think I have his address. You've already. I think
you might.
I think so.
Kavotha wrote congrats to the winner. Yes, Kavotha, we'll get you the IAE poster. Congratulations. Kavotha always hanging out with us in chat. Long-time STARJUMP supporter. We give you the double salutes. Thank you so much, Kavotha. Yes. Okay, we'll get that out to you. I think we owe Kavotha another poster, right? So
he is one of the. I think he's one of the names and addresses I sent you.
He does. Okay. So let me respond to that real quick before we do the YouTube one, just so everyone knows. And Kavotha, this applies to you. I have finally started to catch up on poster processing. Remember, this stuff comes out of our pockets. It's not free, so it's taken a little while. We've had to activate Patreon dollars to pay for this stuff. So, Kavotha, I'm going to process your IAE poster and your Guardians poster. Is this, Ender, these are the Guardians posters with all the medical ships, right?
So we had one winner for the Guardians poster.
Okay.
But yeah, you know what? Send for all of those, do the Guardians poster.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool. And
I like that.
And Kavotha, if you don't want either one of those and you want just a standard Fleet Viewer poster or something, feel free to let me know. But we'll send you the Guardians medical ship poster and the IAE poster. And you can switch one of those out if you want to. Just DM me. But I do have your address. Okay, here we go. We're switching over to the random comment picker right here. We're going to do this. I've got the link in. I'm filtering duplicate users. I've got from today to tomorrow, so it'll pull all the comments that were left in that channel today. And we're going to do a spin wheel, getting the comments now. Okay, 200 comments. Amount of unique comments were 32, though, out of 200. Here we go. Good luck to everyone on YouTube. And here we go. Hopefully this grabbed all the names right. If it didn't, if someone sees an issue, I apologize. I'm still trying to work out this random comment generator thing. Here we go. Drawing this now. You will need to contact me on Discord. I'm going to say it again. You need to contact me on Discord or Twitch. Okay. And you're going to need to confirm some stuff. I need your address. Here we go. Good luck. I'm anticipating something big happening here. Larium. Larium is the Larium. Are you in chat? Larium, if you're in chat, please please reply. Let us know you're there. Let us know you're there. Larium, let us know you're there so that we can get a hold of you. Everyone, let me know if you see Larium.
How's it spelled?
Lerium.
I'm not seeing him. Not seeing him.
All right, we're going to do another winner then. If
Larium? Larium!
Any Larium? Going once, going twice. Going once, going twice. Kavotha, I see your DM, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Stand by. Bingo. I see you sent me an address. Which one is that? Is that Larium?
Is he Larium? Bingo. Is that you?
Bingo.
I think Bingo's just fucking with you. I think that's what's happening right about now.
Oh God! Of course.
I think that's what's happening.
Bingo. We were waiting on Bingo's poster because Bingo was waiting to solidify his fleet, which will never probably happen. But he says he's feel good about it now. So now he wants his poster. So we'll see. Bingo, let me know if this address that you sent me is Larium. If not, I'm going to draw another winner. Did Bingo respond? Oh, it's my okay. Cool. I got your address. Awesome. All right, here we go. I'm picking another winner for the YouTube. I did not see Lyrium. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Ba-ching. Here we go. Bing. I'm excited. I know Ender's excited. Here we go.
All the time.
Fierce Tomato. Okay, I know Fierce Tomato is around. I know
Fierce Tomato.
Fierce Tomato. Yeah, are you there?
Come on now. Speak out loud.
Fierce Tomato. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Good 30 seconds for that delay.
Yeah. Fierce Tomato. Chime in if you're there. Chime in if you're there. Let me know. Let me know. Oh, okay. There's a way to get a hold of Fierce Tomato, though. Okay. I may be able to just contact
you got a hold of them?
Yeah. Well, I have a way to get a hold of them. I have the email. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Not everyone on there does. Okay. Cool. Got it. All right. There we go. Cool. Thank you, everyone. That's great. That's going to be it for our IAE wrap show. We went a little longer than we thought we would. I had a lot of fun just talking with my boy Ender. It's been a while. I think
been a while, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna run and go play some golf.
A little bit of golf,
maybe
bedtime.
It's not too late for everyone. I don't know. Yeah. But everyone, it's been an awesome IE, and we are about to plow into what I think will be the most productive year in Star Citizen that we've seen in a long time. A lot of the Squadron 42 teams are moving over into Star Citizen. They're starting base building work. Stuff like the Idris and its full capacity is being tested. I think it's big time. I think 2024 is going to be like incredible. Okay. So, Ender, any parting words, buddy, before we head out? Actually, the person
asked when the next Ender stream is, and I will say hopefully soon. I'm just kind of playing things by ear at the moment. But as I always say, do something kind for a random stranger because, come on.
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway.
Actually, the person I thought I was going to raid, I am not now. So, Ender, we are open, buddy. Got any people in mind for our Twitch raid?
You know what I'd love to do? I would love to raid somebody who is not an affiliate. And try to help them become an affiliate.
I agree.
So a small streamer. Let me take a look at a couple of streams here. And I've got very low standards. All they have to do is respond to me when I type hello. If they don't respond, they're not that good.
While Ender's finding that, I want to thank everyone in chat. It's been just a really amazing turnout tonight. We had almost up to like 100 in Twitch or something like that. We've had almost 100 into YouTube. Really incredible. We had our one raid, but we were running those numbers even before the raid. So just a big thanks to everyone. You're killing it. You are going to start hearing as we move into 2024 the first real information about the STARJUMP Bar Citizen, the in-person Bar Citizen event. We're trying to plan something a little different than a lot of the other Bar Citizens. In typical STARJUMP fashion, we're trying to approach it a little bit different, a little bit more visual. So again, things are being talked about and thought about and all kinds of cool stuff. So you'll start hearing more about that as we move into the new year. Me and Ender start doing some real planning around it. It's not going to be, it's still a little bit ways away, but there's a lot of pre-planning that we'll have to go into it. So, Ender, do we feel like we have somebody?
I do have somebody, and it's, I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully they're good. But they responded. I am putting it in now /raid.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind put it in my Discord
I've already initiated.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Let me know when we are fully Zarek, it is
We're
coming.
ready to
I'm
go.
actually working on 2 at the same time right now. So it's coming very soon. All right, Ender, let's do it. Everyone, thank you so much. Big giant salute on behalf
Thanks,
of
guys.
STARJUMP. All right, everybody. Have a great night.
Here we go.
Here we go.